This is the Silt versus role-playing game, A God Must Feed Part 10. We have been away for the holidays and we are back. Let's go ahead and do some recapping in order to get caught up. We're also using our brand new shiny character keeper by Ben Bond, which means nothing to people watching the video, but that's okay. It is available for free on the Gauntlet Patreon if you want to go check it out yourself. And which is to take nothing away from Amanda's lovely character keeper that we used that got us through quite a lot of the campaign. So bravo.
Every time I did an update to it, I put in another Rickroll. It was running pretty slow.
Let's check out the situation here. So you have 3 active assignments right now. These are the last 3 assignments you'll have because you've already met the threshold to trigger endgame. The Sleepless Warden, the Skyward Sprawl, and the Bowered Companion. The Sleepless Warden is one where we have this sort of very like patriotic, gung-ho military town that they don't have any more wars to fight, at least at home. And it turns out they have intentionally brought this battle saint to life in order to be inspired, maybe go find some wars. It's a little unclear what their intentions are, but in any case, the warden was awakened intentionally, and you have a question here that's a complexity 4. How can it be pacified? If you answer this question successfully, you'll get the opportunity to resolve the assignment by approaching the warden and persuading it that there is no imminent threat. So it thinks there's something to protect the town from. There's not. You need to convince it that that's the case. You have 2 clues currently on that. One is a tattered paperback on the Battle of Soil and Sky, featuring etchings of crawling tunnel folk and sky martyrs standing vigil on makeshift scaffolding. I love that. And another is evidence of sacrificial garden charms in and around the town. The Skyward Sprawl, we saw quite a bit last time. We really got deep into that one. There's much further to go. It's really dangerous. Sedna's by herself currently on that one. And this is the one where we basically have this religious schism between zealots of the Slag King who built this tower and this offshoot sect that worships the tower itself, and their worship is causing it to grow upwards. It's growing new floors. And this schism is playing out in the form of a really like in the trenches, level by level battle. We saw some really horrifying shit last time, and Sedna's in the middle of it. And you currently have 3 different questions, all different ways of resolving the problem. And you have 3 clues. Now, one of those clues you're going to get as soon as you go talk to Surveyor Priest Monger, Sedna. It's bracketed until you do that. I don't remember exactly what the nature of that clue is supposed to be. Sister Asbestos in the radio broadcast said something about the nature of it, but I've forgotten, so we're going to just paper over that, and I don't remember what she said. I missed that part when I was rewatching it. But I'll give you a clue regardless. When you go there to talk to him, you're owed that. And then I think you're just heading up. You've been given kind of free reign on the Slag King side of the line to travel up the floors as you wish, to keep doing your work. They think you're there as a representative of the Saint Electric to help with, because the Saint Electric and the Slag King are kind of companion deities in a lot of ways, right? Their work is connected. And so that's the situation with the Skyward Sprawl. Among other horrible things we saw. That's barely scratching the surface of what happened last time with the Skyward Sprawl. The Bowered Companion. This is a fairly new one. We haven't seen too much of it yet. Right now, this is one Jasper's by himself working on. But basically, we have this trade road in the Whispering Plains region that is a very important lifeline of trade. And the trucks that go along this trade route are being waylaid or disappearing, and it's a problem. And so Biased, which is the organization you work for, they care about this. As a representative of the government, they care about this. They've sent you in to go figure out what is going on. Now, we know that there is, let's see here. We know that you know this much. There is a kind of forgotten god in this area, the Bowered Companion, a god that predates divine commercialization, a god that predates like a lot of modern world, a god that we're not even sure is worshipped anymore. And that's that's probably the problem. It's just wandering about. This god used to guide people through the forest, and now we think it's possibly guiding truckers off the road or doing bad things. And so you have to go deal with it. You have a question here. What's the quickest way to retake the trade road, which is the main thing Biased cares about? Is it to just go ahead and destroy this god or appease it? It is a complexity to fairly straightforward. Jasper's there. The last thing we saw, Jasper actually saw an overturned truck. We're not sure who crashed the truck, but we saw something that is maybe not even connected to this situation, which is the occupant of the truck was mellified, meaning they were entombed in honey. And we've seen some evidence prior to this of an experimental saint that the Institute has made has maybe escaped and is roaming around, and it might be out of character. We definitely know that's what it is because we've seen them creating these experimental saints in order to produce honey for some corporate honey crisp candy bar or something. But in any case, this saint has escaped. It must be in the area of the Whispering Plains. I don't know if Jasper is I mean, Jasper's so self-involved. I'm not sure if he's even like conscious of the danger he's in. It's unclear if he knows exactly what's going on. But in any case, that's what's going on with Jasper. Jasper also did his move that allows him. He was trying to get into the method headspace of the dead trucker, and instead created the dead trucker Aiden Pataki.
My new follower.
Your new follower, yeah. And you are not aware of him. We just saw him like peeking at you from behind. You don't actually know he's there yet. So that's sort of the situation with the 3 active assignments. You do have 8 conspiracy clues, meaning endgame is triggered. So basically, as soon as these 3 assignments are wrapped up, you're going to go confront the Institute, and that's going to be the campaign arc. Taking a look at the Custodians, right now Theo has 5 of 6 possible conditions. Sedna has all 3 conditions. Jasper has 2. Pele's in good shape with no conditions currently. I do want to note what we saw last time with Pele and Theo back at Welkin's Vigil, which is where the Sleepless Warden assignment is at. You had just finished investigating the Windmill Saints that are overlooking the town, and I think that's pretty much done. You can move on from there. But if you need some more leads of things to go look at, I can let you know. You were with Harlan Scythe doing some. He was very helpful in helping you find clues there, or a clue. And so, with all that said, are there any questions about where the campaign is at, where the assignments are at, what's going on with your character post holidays? Since it's been a minute, anything we need to talk about?
Could you remind me how we clear conditions?
Mm.
It's part of the journey move, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you do. You must be in journey phase, which you are not in currently. You are in investigation phase. Yeah. So
fine. I'll just hang out here by myself.
Yeah.
Conditions.
Yeah,
I feel
exactly.
very Theo-like right now.
I mean, you can also clear conditions if you just do something in the fiction that would make that condition clear. I'm always open to that. So if you have some thoughts about that, you can certainly pitch it to me. Any other questions? Okay. Then in that case, I do believe we are owed a verse from a couple sessions ago from Jasper. So Jasper, as we see you in this on this misty road, looking at this mellified trucker, unaware that you have that the Watcher in the Wings has created this character for the play behind you. Do give us your verse.
Yes, I did mark the a verse of prophecy, the Ashen Circle, which, as we have established in the canon of Jasper Finch, is all done as monologues in the present day, whereas his past is a script. So I feel like he's seated in this heavily mellified truck. There's this like pause of silence that lingers after he was trying to get in the mind of this trucker, and it just fades away to just the sounds of the wind and distant insects and the slight burbling babble of wet mud in the grassland. He just kind of sits there with a heavy sigh, and he says, "Metaphor, simile. Words are a funny thing, are they not? It's almost like someone chose one day to establish the very nature of words as to liken themselves to one another, To say one thing is really something else when it really is not. It is ironic, or it is speaking to the truth of a thing, or if it is some other sort of artistic bullshit than what it is presented as. Why do I speak? Sure, I hear this from my companions often enough. Jasper, why do you open your mouth and deliver these words upon us? Do you not realize the pain you bring with your irreverent nagging and speaking? And, I often wonder if they are correct in their assessments of my being. I cannot help that I enjoy speaking. I cannot enjoy that I simply am a vessel for the words of something that is greater than myself, but they are all the same correct, though yet they know not how correct they are. It was a time long ago, and by that I mean theatrically, it was a time some years ago, relatively to my current state of adulthood. Growing up as an urchin has its benefits, but it also has a litany of downsides. My friend Kanan and I were the closest urchins that there could be found. The two of us running about, getting bits and bobs that we could come across just simply to get by and make gains of our choosing. Childhood is funny like that. It's like a sort of delicious innocence, a sunny field rife with the smell of summer and honey and other words that mean nothing yet mean everything atop it. It is funny, though, how when childhood segues into adulthood or adolescence and then to adulthood, one can begin to see a decline. A decline in that innocence, a decline in that sense of brotherly camaraderie and all other sorts of institutions that have stood the test of time immemorial. Little things seem to reduce boyhood to nothing more than squabbling and jealousy. And it's so funny, is it not, how when it comes to the realm of insults, we so often grab metaphor and simile. You remind me of a stinking bog, or perhaps you equate someone's intelligence to that of a hound. You are as smart as a dog, which is, of course, to say they are not as smart as a dog, because dogs are not smart. No. I learned a hard lesson once upon a time about the power of words, the power of metaphor and simile. When driven passionately, truthfully, that is the performance of the world that speaks ultimately to the very nature of our creation. And with intent, you create result. So if you were to example, say in your youth to your friend who you'd begun to distance yourself from, a rift betwixt yourselves growing, a sense of bitterness and childhood rivalry festering in that wound, and one day you say, Kanan, you are little more than an oozing puddle of filth where once there stood a human boy. You are a wretched glob of something unspeakable beneath my very shoe, and you are not even fit to be scraped on the pavement. How was I to know the power of words? How was I to know that at that time in speaking and declaring that Canaan was a pile of filth, that indeed, before mine own eyes, I watched his flesh drip from his bones, washed away like rainwater down a city gutter, turning into nothing but a green, fetid filth. As his bones turned to jelly and his eyeballs to dirt, I stood there watching in horror. And of course, you cannot simply rewrite something like that. It's not in the play. And the play is the thing. There's my verse.
Bravo, bravo. Very good. It's nice to have Jasper back. Let's pick up with Let's pick up with Sedna. Sedna, you are gonna. You were kind of like shown where Surveyor Priest Bonger can be found. I assume you're heading over there. That was the last thing you said you were going to do.
Yeah, if what was her name? Novice Timber? If she's gone, then
Novice Timber took off. Yeah,
okay,
Novice
good.
Timber's gone. Nobody stopped her from leaving. She did, I'll remind you, she did ask you to try to
Speak to your
implore her
parents.
parents to get out of this situation, to let all this go. That was Sister Rebar and Brother Timber, I think was his name.
She was Timber.
Oh, she's Timber.
Sister Rebar, brother.
Let me find it real
Oh,
quick.
I don't remember now.
Oh, Sister Plate Glass and Brother
Yes.
Rebar. Yeah, that's it.
All right.
You will see Surveyor Priest Monger, a priest of the Slag King. He's massive, hairless, grease-daubed, heavily scarified. You'll know, because you will have been given this in your debrief with Biased, that Monger is from the supply chain fundamentalist faction of the Slag King's faith. You know from Hard Hat Lady that his voice box and larynx are scarred from imbibing a devotional draft of molten iron some time ago. He has just finished giving his little speech, and he sets down the little like talking device that whatever you call it, the little mic, and he's he's kind of at this gleaming chrome altar where that he's made or that his followers have made that is like it's kind of set atop a pile of melted welded lobby furniture, um and so he's kind of looking down at you from this construct, and he says, a representative from the maiden caged in fire. And so the lady has decided to join the fight, I see.
Decided or deciding. I'm still seeking information.
He had a book in his hand that it looks like maybe he was just looking at or it was of some importance to him. He sets it down, and it takes a little tumble down this strange twisted metal altar space and kind of lands near you. And he gives it a look. It's not convenient for him to go down and pick it up, so he just leaves it for now. But you can see that the book, based off its title, it's not a book, it's more like a binder. It's a geological survey mapping rich mineral deposits beneath the Dreams of Ease development, beneath this building. He says, what kind of information are you looking for?
Well, clearly there's some kind of problem with this building and its growth. Perhaps we could start with why is this happening and how did it start?
Go ahead and make the information move with probably presence.
Yeah, it's probably
Yeah, I
presence.
think it's
That's my
probably
worst. Well, it's
presence.
not my worst, but it's not great.
I gather. Oh, it looks like the moves are not on this character keeper anywhere.
They are.
Oh, are they?
Specifically, you go to the left-hand side, and it goes moose reference, and
Oh,
they
got it.
are
Oh,
you hover over them, and they are on the notes.
Ben, you outdid
fancy.
yourself.
Yeah,
This
it's
is
very fancy.
There's sections for special moves, which I put in the Dusk Mother's Embrace, and reoccurring characters, and the shared notes section. So it's real fancy. All like.
Yeah, that is fancy. What'd you get on your die roll?
7.
7. On a hit, you find a clue. I'll tell you what it is. On a 7 to 9, there's a complication, either with the clue itself or a complication you encounter while searching. He says, I, of course, am happy to give you the full backstory of everything that's going on here. But first, we have a bit of a problem. Our generators, the generators that we're using on the lower floors, where we're based, they've started to short. We need someone to come look at them.
If I go fix your generators, will you tell me what's going on?
I'll tell you everything that you need to know.
How do you know everything I need to know?
And then he talks into the little mic, which actually fixes his voice a little bit, you'll recall. He says, the Slag King will reveal all at the appropriate time.
I just kind of roll my eyes and mutter fanatics under my breath.
Your clue is that geological survey mapping rich mineral deposits beneath the Dreams of Ease development. Do you want to try to snatch that, or do you want to are you just cool with knowing that it's a thing?
Does it look like he's coming down to get it anytime soon?
No, I think he's kind of forgotten about it.
Oh yeah, then I'm totally gonna take it.
You can I'll just let you take it.
Yeah.
But it's a clue, so note that. And I owe you another clue after you're done with the generators. So let's cut over to Pele and Theo. Pele and Theo, let's talk about Welkin's Vigil. One thing that happened last time was you all got jumped by Fitzwelkin and the boys, but you managed to kind of intimidate them out of what they were trying to do. And they've sort of suggested that, oh, it's cool. Why don't you come hang out with us at Third Watch? That's the museum slash bar that used to be in a watchtower. But there's other places around town to look at too, historical districts and things like that. What's your next move here, Pele?
Well, I can leave it up to Theo Solomon. I have 2 ideas. We can go participate in drinking and merriment at the Third Watch. Obviously, another trap. Or we can investigate the tunnels. Welkin's Vigil was built on top of an old fort, right? And this book says that there's crawling people. Tunnels.
Tunnels, yeah.
Might lead us to a bit more of an idea of how to deal with the Iron Cormorant.
Yes, or at least the idea of where the Iron Cormorant originally came from, rather than the sort of plinth that's in the middle of town.
Good idea. You have such good ideas, Theo.
Besides, I'm not pleased with the Fitz and his gang. They stole from me. I won't forget that.
I know we're supposed to maintain a low profile and not destroy any historical edifices. And I know starting an issue with the town families, Jester Prince, might not be very professional. But there are other boys involved with Fitz, and I can break their thumbs for you if you wish.
I'd rather you not have to degrade yourselves to that, because I will probably end up having to fix whatever you break.
Fair enough.
I'll remind you all that you all got a citation last time for the mere infraction, the noise pollution of the motorcycle. So bear that in mind.
Yeah.
The Historical Society is very, very protective of Welkin's Vigil and the historical monuments there on. Finding tunnels beneath the town, that's an intriguing idea. I think you're probably going to have to do some kind of poking around to find them. You do have some other points of interest here. You have, let's see.
I know that there was a temple, like
Oh
in
yeah, the
town.
Chapel of the Fog Mantle.
Yes. Yeah.
That could be interesting. There's Founders Row. There is the Third Watch bar. You haven't really looked around the town square too much yet, because as soon as you got there last time, you got your citation and then left.
Yeah.
So, Theo, what's your move?
Definitely going to the chapel, because like with sort of that's another major historical place, and it probably has like a basement or something along that lines.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the chapel. It's a small domed temple. There is a forest of flagpoles in the courtyard. Colorful kites and prayer flags flutter in the wind. A faded but still beautiful mural wraps around the outer stone wall. Notably, a mixture of licensed deities and more obscure gods from the coastal territories seem to be represented here. This is a sort of general temple for just people, for lots of different faiths, basically. But it seems like most of the represented faiths at least have something to do with the ocean, the coast, the sky, the wind. I think as you approach, you see a young woman with a colorful vest and gloves selling kites to little kids as they go by. This is sort of adjacent to all the little stalls where things are being sold and advertised to. You will also notice that the Institute has purchased stall space, and they have quite a long line of locals who they're chatting with and trying to convince. There's some kind of recruitment effort going on here. You might even see Dr. Ishikaro give you a little friendly wave, Pele. Theo, what do you do?
Hey Pele, what's all this sort of hubbub about? I figured that people would be more dispersed out, different things and all that.
Popular part of town. High traffic area. Could investigate. Would you prefer to do the talking, or would you like for me to?
I could talk. I could definitely help out there. My faith, both of our faiths are a little bit more recognized, and is acceptable, at least.
We'll have you take point on that, and I'll keep my eyes and ears out on anything that sticks out.
The Chapel of the Fog Mantle has a number of historic features: mural poetry and nearly forgotten prayer marks, flags of former territories, antique rifles and uniforms of soldiers said to have volunteered to be hallowed in desperate times. You can walk right into the chapel. There's nothing to stop you. Let's paint the scene, everyone. What local variations of sky deities are represented here? What aspects of modern life does the chapel denounce? What tenets of these sky gods does the temple proclaim instead? I can paste that in the chat, since it's kind of a multi-part one.
As a wordy paint the scene question.
It is a wordy paint the scene question, yeah.
I think there is a stair to nowhere that is supposed to be a representation of how going up takes effort, and what goes up must come down, and it's denouncing elevators. Elevators are effortless. There's no thought to moving up and down. Sky, like stairs are the way up.
There are paper kites dedicated to an old deity that is not frequently worshipped called Kite Herd. You could burn precious items to ash and allow the wind to carry the ash away as a sacrifice. It was an in favor god for a while because it required so little to be fed. But unfortunately, as things change, when High Adjudicator Devlin set about to outlaw small time faiths, this kite herd was transformed into a commercialized god of air.
There is a sky deity called the oncoming rains that fall upon the fields. The god of weather and whatnot. You praise him by just by doing hard labor, hard work, tilling the earth, making sure that sort of the stuff from like the sea, like little shells and stuff, is buried into the ground to help fertilize, to call forth the water from the ocean into fresh water from the clouds.
I think there is a what's the word I'm looking for? Similar to what Kat just described, there is a like a cloud like deity of the things, that vapors that drift into the sky, whether it's the outcome of steam or burning, the transmutation of solid matter into air and ascension. And it is kind of this roiling mass of transubstantiated matter that flies throughout this sky god of transformation and flight, but also of like burning, of feeding this great plume. And it sort of denounces the concept of modern industry as like the pipes over of the smokestacks of a factory are like the false prophets, like this sense of like the industrialized expulsion of matter into the air is an aspect that is not sacred. It is quite the opposite. It is more profane. The tenets of these gods promotes this kind of sense of frequent burning of offerings to ascend, but also like always keeping a kettle of tea boiling at all times, just constantly sending plumes of stuff up into the air, but only in the individual level.
Theo and Pele, as you enter into the temple, you're approached by an older gentleman with a shock of wispy silver hair, rich dark skin, very pale, clouded eyes. He's wearing a cream-colored suit that has fringe on the arms, but the fringe is not fringe. It's little glass tassels like wind chimes. He has a lightning-marked walking stick, and he's followed by a dog as well. And he says, "Welcome to the Chapel of the Fog Mantle. It's good to see that there are some people here who worship something other than the past."
Yes. It seems as that's very popular around here. But unfortunately, we do have questions about the past, specifically this chapel's past.
Hmm. Intriguing. You bear the marks of a pox monk. Do I have it right?
Yes.
Yes. Well, I certainly am not willing to intervene or suggest that I have any better ideas about how to calm one's body or mind, but I have to say, there's something to be said about simply sitting up on a high cliff and letting the wind blow through your hair that is quite soothing to the body and soul.
Yes. There is sort of the natural remedies that take time. I'm more one that is a more immediate action.
I think he looks at you're walking with a bit of pain and you're breathing heavily. The pain that you've taken on from the Windmill Saints very recently, actually.
Mhm.
And he says, yes, that much is evident. Well, you wish to discuss the history of the church, the
Mhm.
actual structure itself, or
Yeah, yes, the actual structure itself.
intriguing?
I've heard stories that towns are typically founded upon their religious beliefs.
Ah, I see. And in this case, you mean literally founded upon
Mm-hmm.
something.
Yes.
I take your meaning. Go ahead and roll the information move with vitality.
Really?
Yeah, because it's your body that he's observing.
Okay. I'm assuming disadvantage because I have so many things wrong with my body.
No, I don't think so. I think he's actually like impressed by your piety. Hmm,
Oh, okay.
hmm.
I love a vitality-based information check.
It's so rare, but yeah.
Okay. That's all right. That's an 8.
Very good. Pele, what are you doing in the meantime?
I think as soon as Pele realizes that this priest's whole focus is on the sickly one, Pele's like, oh, I can move like a shadow. So Pele is just inspecting like a dad looking at a teenager's first apartment's like or like a college kid's first apartment's crown molding. I'm
Mm.
just inspecting like around the foundation and everything, seeing if there's like anything of note, interest. Hands behind back, just in a museum, just looking.
Do the information move with insight.
Perfect, thank you. You sure you don't want me to be vitality as well?
No, no, no.
That is a 9.
9. Okay, so you both clues, complications on clue. Let's cut over Jasper for a bit. Jasper, I don't know if you have anything else to do with the truck, but if you do, let me know. Otherwise, we're going to keep going through the Whisper Plains to Alm.
Yeah, no, he definitely got his fix out of that and continues on his way.
Let's talk about the Whisper Plains, which is generally speaking, broadly speaking, the territory that you're in. We didn't really get a chance to explore it too much last time. This is the wilderness outside of Alm. It's equal parts forest, field, and hissing electricity pylons. It's crisscrossed with muddy trade roads and polluted canals. You are on one of said trade roads right now. It's perpetually covered in a haze of acrid fog, and the eponymous whispers can be heard within by those who listen closely. Let's paint the scene, everyone. Almost every acre of the Whisper Plains has been marred by industrialization. What particularly egregious scar have humans left on this part of the wilderness?
You can see from where you're standing, even from where you're standing, a place farther out where an open pit mine was dug to rid the land of whatever was worth money, whatever fuel or jewels or whatever was in there that they could possibly steal from it. And then it's been filled in, but filled in with the leftover chemicals of all the processes of getting that stuff out of the ground. And you can even smell it from where you are. And it's not a small space, it's the size of a city. It's a huge lake. And you can see the steam coming off of it and the smell coming off of it. And it is particularly pungent.
I think like an infected artery, there is this pipeline that's woven its way through the landscape, trailing with it just black fetid earth, and occasionally it like spouts out thick viscous fluid, not oil. It's a pipeline for something, but it is like a dark earthen red, and it reeks of copper and filth.
Even near the kind of path you're walking, the kind of trail you're walking, you can see an abandoned project to light this area for like nighttime walking to make it safer. But you can just see the open almost mouths of like where these light posts are were going to be that have just been wrapped in caution tape and forgotten.
I think, Jasper, you're not the most observant one out of all of us when it comes to other divine faiths. But you can tell the gods here are not pleased. They are constantly in turmoil, looking for any chance at a sacrifice.
I hate that. I'm getting the most amount of Chernobyl vibes from this place of everywhere we've been.
You are in this misty forest, not unlike my background. Maybe with a flashlight, poking your way through.
Well, we prefer to call it a torch where I come from.
Of course you do. You come upon what appears to be a little clutch of abandoned shacks, homes. Most of them are collapsed, but there's one that's still kind of standing. It looks, just at a glance, it looks like it was vacated really quickly. Personal items left behind. You're not quite in Alm yet. This would be people who can't even afford to live in Alm. What do you do?
Like with his torch in hand, shining, cutting through the mist, he approaches these shacks and passes the beam over their gaps, and it is just kind of like glancing inside. And half-heartedly, with the expectation of no response, he does call out like, "Hello."
Make
Hello.
the information move with composure.
Sure.
Not composure.
Oh,
We don't call it
focus.
that.
Yeah.
Focus. Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. Sure. Any conditions applying here?
No.
All right. Give me a moment. I'm just looking at my items real quick if I want to throw anything out there.
Yeah.
No, that's okay. I will just roll flat. +1. Okay. That is an 11. Not bad.
Not bad. You get a clue, free and clear. Let's talk about what you see at a glance, though. In this particular little shack, you notice that there are manic prayer marks carved into every available surface, all the walls, of course, but also on old family photographs, bathroom mirrors, couch cushions. Let's paint the scene, everyone. It might be a little self-evident, but what else here makes us think that the former residents of this home were unhappy?
There are trees that have been painted like targets and are pockmarked with bullets. A frustrating amount of bullets.
You look around, you see like sort of at places where like obviously that the portraits of like the family members have been there for a long time, but then pulled down. But that they are still at the scene. They still seem to be all accounted for, as though they haven't taken any sort of memories with them.
If you look at all the beds, they don't have little footboards at the end of them, and if you consider the fact that a lot of the boots that have been like left behind caked with mud are quite large, you get the impression that people here are probably quite tall and did not have enough room in their own beds to properly fit.
You gaze around the walls, you can see holes where people have punched through them out of frustration.
Nice. I owe you a clue when we get back to this scene, Jasper. Sedna, you're going to be taken over to the generator room, which is actually back on the sub levels, but you have to get to it from across the way of the lobby level. It's like on the other side of where you came in from originally. But it's back in the sub levels. And Hard Hat Lady takes you down there. She's like, still haven't figured out what happened to Ezekiel.
Uh, maybe he just left.
Yeah.
Would you be able to point me in the direction of, once I fix the generators, of course, where these people that are worshiping this, and she kind of points to the direction of the elevator, growing thing where they're hanging out?
She's like, where they're hanging out? You mean on the top floors of the building fighting a war?
That's the only place they are? They don't just, you don't have like a spot where you guys meet, negotiate,
She says,
safer?
the Dreamers of Ease are one thing. And we have occasional parleys with them to try to, well, occasional ceasefires to try to like reach some kind of common understanding, but it always falls apart. And in any case, we have the afflicted to deal with. The afflicted, of course, being the people who you encountered on the way into town. She says, speaking of which, the generator is, well, right now, we have a bit of a gap in the fence. If you see some afflicted coming by, be really quiet, or they'll be drawn into it.
Ugh. Do you have a weapon or something I could have?
She's like, of course. And she hands you a big wrench.
Oh, I was thinking something more, you know.
She's like, listen, if you get into some kind of trouble, just yell. I'll be over there.
You're not gonna give me a radio or anything?
Okay, fine. And she gives you a walkie. It's like, if you get any trouble, just give me a squawk and we'll be right over. But this Ezekiel situation is kind of pulling me away right now. I gotta figure out what's going on.
Well, maybe you just need to focus and not worry so much about Ezekiel.
She says, let me do my job. You do yours. And she points at the generator.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn towards the generator, head that way.
I think as you are working on the generator, you see just a little waft of rust flakes float down in front of you. And you hear a slight rattle on the chain link fence. And you see several afflicted. They haven't noticed you yet, but they're just kind of bobbing around out there on the outside of the fence. You do see the bit of fence that they have like kind of tried to bind together with cords, but it's pretty bad. The little tear in the fence. You better work fast.
Well, if there's anything I'm good at, it's making power start in things.
Very good. Let's do the veiled move. What are you afraid is going to happen if you don't get this fixed in time?
The afflicted are going to find me before I get the generator started.
I think that's probably right. You can go ahead and roll with focus. I'm not going to make any of your conditions apply right now.
Okay. I think I'm going to use my very thick-soled rubber combat boots, my platform boots, as an item to use in this. I think because I can see the generator kind of sparking a little bit,
Yeah.
I'm going to kind of dig my feet in so that there's no part of me touching the ground, so that I'm not going to be a conduit myself.
Nice. Good. Go ahead and roll with advantage.
All right, that's 8.
Nice. Okay. Let's take a 5-minute break. We'll come back and pick up these scenes. Okay, we're back. Before we leave Sedna, you're able to get the generator fixed pretty quickly, actually. No troubles. And with that done, Monger will speak to you about what he knows about the history of this building, of the conflict. As you're getting your tools wrapped up, ready to head back in, you'll see that the afflicted that had kind of gathered around the fence, their attention is drawn away. They are wandering now toward Novice Timber, who's trying to escape. You see Novice Timber. Novice Timber doesn't see them yet. Novice Timber is got her personal belongings and things, and she's kind of like trying to, she's clearly like trying to sneak away from the compound. What do you do?
Curse under my breath and throw the very large wrench out in between myself and the afflicted in order to catch their attention.
This is going to be, I think it's still the veiled move at this point. What are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
They're going to just go for Novice Timber, and she's going to get zombied or whatever.
Yeah, go ahead and do it with insight for quick thinking. And let's take a look at your conditions and see if they apply. Overconfident, disgusted. This is what gods do. Maybe disgusted. This whole situation.
I'm kind of disgusted by this whole situation.
Yeah,
I
it's the whole
always
situation.
End up in a situation like this.
Yeah.
Do I get to use the wrench as a personal item?
Oh, because it's the wrench you were given. I'll let it cancel out the disadvantage, so you can roll flat dice. But it doesn't go in your equipment or your altar.
That's a 9.
Okay. We'll come back to this. Actually, I have to tell you how you'll be vulnerable, and you have to decide whether. Well, let me read the move. I can't remember now how it goes. Hold on. Moves. How do I get it to like actually activate there? Oh,
Yeah,
you gotta click on it.
Yes, yeah. Veiled move on a 7 and 9. I'll tell you how your actions leave you vulnerable, and you can choose to back down or go through that. Oh, okay. You'll be vulnerable because one of them will manage to burst through the little gap, a small one.
No,
Otherwise, you can leave Novice Timber to her fate.
No, I feel like that's. I just got her out of this place. Fine. I'll let the thing come at me.
All right, very good. You throw the wrench, it lands, and they turn and see it. And several of them, like one of them picks it up and like begins like trying to wrench their own arm or something, like where there's these like sort of rusty scabs. They're trying to just like move the wrench on them. I don't know, they're losing their minds. But one small one, a little tween afflicted, manages to scramble in the little gap in the fence and is scrambling toward you. What do you do?
I want to electrify the fence.
Ah, nice. Good. We'll come back to this. Theo and Pele, I owe you both clues. Theo, remind me what you had. What did you ask the priest? His name is Leon, by the way. Leon Suleiman.
I asked Leon about the sort of the structure of
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
history of the chapel. Of like, it should have been like one of the first things built in the town. So
Yeah. He says, hmm. He says, well, yes, this chapel was here long before Welkin's vigil. In fact, what you're looking at, this is just the top of a much larger structure. Beneath our feet, there is a tomb of sorts, a megalith of the ancient world. Who knows what sorts of worship used to happen in these lands before the arrival of civilizing forces? That's your clue. Here's your complication. As he's telling you this, he like winces in pain. Ah! And grabs his leg. Ah! Ah! He says, sorry. Coastal air hasn't helped too much with this particular malady.
no, there's always a reason for people like me here.
He
Let
says,
me ease your burden.
I wouldn't ask you to take this into your body. Poxmonk.
I would do so willingly. It hurts me more to see you in pain than to take the pain itself.
He says, very well. And he rolls up the cream-colored pant leg to show his lower leg, where there is a large, I would say the width of your fist, a large pus-filled abscess on his leg. He says, what do you intend to do?
I intend to take it away from you. I suggest we take this to some place quiet.
And he'll take you to a little office area at the rear of the temple. Meanwhile, Pele, you overheard there is a megalithic tomb beneath this chapel, a structure of the ancient world now buried. That's all very interesting and confirms somewhat your ideas about what's beneath this town. I do owe you a clue as well. That clue that you see is there is a tarnished plaque commemorating service under the battle Saint Merciful Dawn 4. That is your clue. I'll type that here for you. And your complication is that the kite seller has come in. She's gathering up her kites and her wares and kind of setting them in a little corner of the chapel. It seems like maybe she has a deal worked out with Leon to store things here. And she says, oh, hey.
Hey.
And she kind of like walks up to you, hand extended to shake your hand. She says, I'm Shay.
Hey, like Kessel. Big meaty paw extended out.
She's like, Well, they make them big wherever you're from, huh?
Not anymore.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Not your fault. No need to apologize.
You want a kite?
You see a moment where Pele is just staring off in the distance, like clearly having like just a flash, and then goes, I would indeed like a kite, yes.
He's like, here, come outside. You can pick one out. We'll try. We'll test drive them.
Test drive a kite. And is going to like nod and just like go over and find one that looks kind of like a bird a little bit, maybe like a swallow or a cardinal, and is just gonna pick it up and just with glee join the go fly a kite. Yes, I will in fact go fly a kite.
Indeed. We'll come back to this scene in a moment. Jasper, I owe you your clue free and clear. I think that you're going to see. Let me look at your clues you've already got on this sort of duplicate. Your current clues are a particular road snack has been extremely popular with motorists, a paper map of the area heavily blacked out with spirals. And so the second thing I'm going to give you, a third clue, is going to be this. You're looking into this little abandoned shack. And you see painted on one wall in big letters a warning: turn back. That's your clue.
I don't think I will sign.
Very good.
Kind of like continue. He like steps. He lands in, but he's gonna kind of like circumvent the area. Since he's like walking off trail. Actually, I think I do have an answer to the first question already because it's a complexity too.
What is your answer?
Yeah. So, what is the quickest way to retake the trade road? Destroying the god or appeasing it? Well, thinking about these clues so far, I think it's appeasing the god because factoring in the road snacks that have been popular with motorists lately, and the poster map are the two clues I'm going to use. I'll leave the third one as a as a freebie. I think that something about these road snacks, whichever, like this new brand that's been very popular with motorists and similar road travelers, it's also quite intoxicating for these gods because it's almost like it's seasoning on the meat. Otherwise, it's
the Bowered
it's really,
companion likes Funyuns, is what you're
the
saying.
Bowered companion loves Funyuns, loves Funyuns essentially. But the blacked out like spirals in the area, there's like several. I'm imagining quite literally a traditional like swirl. Yeah, it's the Funyuns, Jason.
Funyun
No,
circle.
it's it's reminiscent of like a whirlpool or water draining down the sink. The idea of like, oh, things are kind of naturally there are these various points of consumption that the god has in the area that draws in its prey. And essentially with this in mind, an awareness of like where its kind of points of consumption are and what it seems to be have been drawn to, I think, well, we can probably appease it because right now it's just eating as a consequence of capitalism, of seasoning its meat.
Oh, I've just thought of a product.
Oh yeah, you want to share it?
The Onion Lord's Fun Rings.
Yes, canon. Let's put it in there.
Everybody loves
that's the snack.
Fun Ring.
Onion Lord Fun Rings. Yep. I will happily roll for this.
So
though.
I like it. Yeah, the snacks are being used as like basically offerings, essentially.
Yeah.
I think that's great. Go ahead and roll flat if nobody disagrees.
Ooh, that's bad. It's a 5.
That's a 5.
The Bowered companion does not love fun.
It does not love the Onion Lord's Fun Ring. As it turns out.
I listen. Part of me is also because it's because it's a threshold question, I love getting threshold questions wrong because it makes the
It's
other
just the
thing correct.
opposite. Yeah, it's
I
just the
love
opposite
the
thing.
idea
Yeah.
of like a Jasper being like, I understand this thing. I know what it wants. I just need to appease it. And then it's just like, it's just quite literally, it's like, oh no, this thing needs to be destroyed. Oh God, everything's terrible. Things are getting really bad.
Yeah, it is now true that it has to be destroyed. And here's how you know.
Oh no.
You have a bag of Onion Lord Fun Rings.
Throwing them around like I'm feeding pigeons at a park.
Yeah.
Companion!
Coward!
Coward!
Companion.
Wherefore art thou, companion?
I think as you're doing this, the mist has gotten quite heavy.
It's onion time.
The mist is heavy. The moon is high in the sky. The shadows stand like, or the trees stand like tall shadow sentries. It's gotten much darker, much faster than you would have anticipated. And of course, right at this moment, your torch goes out, naturally.
He looks at his torch and like he says out loud, not to himself, but almost as if he were speaking directly to the watcher, he just says, really? Now?
And then you see, bobbing in the distance, the glow of a fire. A lantern. I would like the revelation move. What do you afraid is going to happen if you lose control of yourself right now?
God. That I'm going to suddenly just disappear. Like whatever's been grabbing the road people, it's gonna grab me.
Yeah, that's kind of what I had in mind too. So I think this is worse as it's going to get. The devoured companion will lead you away.
Oh no.
Do go ahead and roll with. Let's take. Well, first of all, let's take a look at your conditions and your what the situation is. I think it's probably going to be with focus for sure,
Okay.
but I think just to fuck with you, the emotional support clone is going, follow the light, Jasper. Just
Now I have a question. Is that you told me for as long as I willingly kept that condition, I got the benefits of being able to like I can always mark it. If I chose to destroy it by marking it, like I squish it under heel to shut it the fuck up, will I be able to mark that item to mitigate the disadvantage and also clear the condition?
it'll clear the condition, and yeah, it'll mitigate the disadvantage as well. Yeah, why
He
not?
has done Pickles the Second has done nothing but lead me astray, and it's been terrible. I feel like I'm going to throw Pickles the Second to the ground, crush him under my boot, and just with a twist of the heel, just shut him up.
Fantastic.
I'll make that flat then.
2d6 plus focus.
5.
5. You walk for a time, approaching the lantern. You're walking through the woods for a while, and it feels like you're not getting any closer. You always just see the lantern about 100 paces away. And then eventually it goes out. And the very last thing you're aware of, first, the sound of crunching twigs behind you. Second, a hand tapping your shoulder. And that's the last we see of Jasper Finch.
Yeah, I'll write a verse.
Very well.
Yeah.
We'll come back to this in a moment. Let's pick up with Sedna. Sedna, there is a little young afflicted scrambling toward you. You are going to electrify the fence to destroy it, presumably. I like this a lot. It's the veiled move, unless you have some other move that's in play here.
I would like to use my sacred conduit if I can.
Okay.
That's where because the spark of the saint's power still lives within you. When you channel the divine currents and Saint Electric, mark a charge box and make your next roll with advantage.
This move never gets you in trouble. You should absolutely do
Oh,
it.
fine. I have an empty charge box, so like
yeah. You are fully empty right now because you
Ezekiel got
Ezekiel got the full force of that expenditure last time. Yeah, I love it. You roll with advantage, and if you can work in one of your items, somehow you'd get double
I get
advantage.
double
Actually,
advantage.
yeah. But I'm curious, what are you afraid is going to happen if you fail?
I think I'm a little nervous after what happened to Ezekiel of using that bit of power that sparks out from me. I'm worried that it's going to overcome me again. So I think I'm worried that I'm going to electrify the whole fence, and anyone in or around on or around the fence in the whole perimeter is going to fry.
That would be bad. Go ahead and roll with, I think this is probably going to be vitality.
And I can't really think of a way to use my items, so I'll just do regular advantage. 7. It's a good thing that was advantage.
7. I have an idea here, and you're going to have to help me out, Amanda.
Okay.
My idea is you're going to neutralize the threat, but in a weird way, because this is a young girl crawling through a metallic cage, so to speak, that you're electrifying, you are going to create a saint of the Saint Electric right here on the spot.
This is why you don't trust gods. Oh, Lord.
I would like to know, be thinking about what that looks like. It's going to be a revelation move as well, and it's probably going to be at disadvantage because that's what gods do. But I want to know like what this transformation will look like.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
be thinking on that. Okay, good. Sometimes good ideas hit you like a bolt of lightning. Sometimes. Theo, let's talk about your move to let it pass unto me. You can remove a physical ailment from a side character to yourself. You will note this as a condition, and then you will roll with vitality. Actually, I don't think any of your other... I mean, well, the Pain of the Windmill Saints is so new, and you've endured a lot. I'm going to put you at disadvantage as well because of all that. Yeah.
Life just sucks for Theo.
It does suck for Theo right now, yeah, a little bit. But I want to know before you even do the roll, what does it look like to remove pus from this man's leg into your body?
It's more or less I'm putting my hands physically on him and I'm squeezing it out. It sort of absorbs into my skin, removing it.
I love it. You're going to have pus-filled abscess as a condition. Do go ahead and roll.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just looking at my altar. It's just like see if like I can use
something can help you out here. Yeah.
Like because this is such a good idea, Jason. I have a tea that could help relax my own nerves. Called Midnight Reverie.
Okay, good. Yeah.
To note for everyone, it is a psychotropic tea.
Oh, good. that feels like the right thing to do here. Let's get.
Yeah.
Let's have hallucinations while we're doing this. Do go ahead and roll with flat dice then, with vitality.
Okay, that's an 8.
Okay, and the move says here on a hit, choose one from the list. What do you choose?
I'm just going to have it be a little bit boring right now because like I think this is a good sort of you know what? Never mind. I think I will receive a gift from this side character and I get to add it to my altar because I need more stuff. Uh uh Pele, since like you're around, what is it?
What's the what? What does Pele decide?
No, what gift does Leon Suleiman give to Theo Solomon
Okay.
for healing him?
Oh, okay. Yeah. I think he's going to give you, you know, those, they're like a gravity thing or whatever, but it's typically like a wooden, like kind of bowl type of object, and it has like a bird-shaped wood carving that has a metal beak, and it can balance so it looks like it's flying. Have you ever seen those things? It's like a little
Okay.
toy kind of thing like that, like a desk toy. Um, and it's like, oh, how does it fly like this? It's a magic trick, and it's like it's
It's the
just
gods.
gravity. Yeah, it's the god. So it's one of those things. Yeah. So a wooden bird desk toy. I don't. Yeah, you want to put that in there.
Yeah.
This
Bird
is
desk toy. That
Yeah,
looks
this
like
is a
it's
little bit
fine.
this is a little bit after. And because you didn't choose the option of not attracting unwanted attention, I think you did such a good job that Leon says, "Theo, may I call you that?
Yeah.
There's a part of me that has great regret that you've had to take on this pain into your body racked as it is with pains and scars. But I suppose this is the faith that you follow, and is not my position to judge or to offer you pity. Instead, I would like for you to come with me tonight to a candlelit vigil
Oh,
that we're going to be holding in the square.
yes.
Are you quite all right, Theo?"
Yes, I'm all right.
And he sees your dilated pupils and says, "My goodness, you. I think you need to rest. But let me ask you, are you currently having visions?"
I'm not sure. My god is typically a silent one, and we have to interpret things.
This could be a blessing. You could
Yes.
be a cipher for the many sky deities that have touched this place. What are they
Oh.
telling you?
Something to do with the color purple, because that's the only color I could see right now.
He says, "Ah, very interesting indeed. Purple, purple sunset in the sky. Yes,
Something is happening at sunset.
yes. That's when the vigil starts.
I
It all
must
makes
go.
sense.
I must go to the vigil.
You must
I
go
need-
to the vigil.
I need to tell Pele that Pele must come to the vigil as well. That was my friend from earlier.
It is divine providence that
Yes.
you came in today."
I
Let's
think
cut
like
over to Pele. While the two of you keep going in your circle of divine madness. Pele, Shay's pretty cool. Kite seller, flying kites. She says, "It's fun, right?"
It's concerning.
"How so?"
You have to provide just enough tautness, but just enough laxness to make sure that it stays flying. Because if you pull too much, it'll plummet to the earth. But if you let it go too far, then it'll catch a crosswind and then fly into some tree.
Kind of a metaphor for life, I suppose.
It's harrowing.
Harrowing. And here, when you say the word harrow, do you have like any kind of tattoos or anything that might indicate that you follow Sweet Jolly Crunch Tooth or that your family is a
I think, yeah,
converted?
I think there's, yeah, just like a side neck tattoo that
Yeah.
you just see the Sweet Jolly Crunch Tooth
Yeah.
logo just like right there on the neck.
Between your use of the word harrowing, between that, she says, "Are you are you a follower of one of the harvest gods?" I find that most are, you know, big, grain, fed, and all that. Sorry, I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no. I understand. Yes. I think you could say I am a follower of the harvest god, yes. Of one.
Right. Yeah. Well, uh, cool.
Why do you ask?
I like grain.
You like grain.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. I'm a big gluten fan as a general matter.
It is truly a miracle substance, is it not? Has so many different purposes that can be used for in your life. The fact that some people cannot ingest it just shows how true a rare commodity it is, with people having natural digestive issues when they try to process it. Makes you feel evolved, does it not?
Well, it makes you wonder, I suppose. Well, never mind. Yeah, grain, rocks, gluten, more like oh, I don't know what I'm saying. Listen, do you want to go to the vigil tonight?
Is it a candlelit vigil?
Well, most vigils are, I think, as a general matter. It's kind of a vigil, pretty standard vigil thing.
Will there be crying?
Yes.
Mm,
No. No crying. Definitely not. Happy vigil.
happy vigil. Rare. I've seen some on occasion.
I don't even
I'll
know
have
what
to
it's
check.
for. This town just loves a vigil, you know? I mean, it's called
Nothing,
Welkin's Vigil, so.
nothing brings a community together like a vigil, I guess. Yes, I would like to go.
Oh, great. Cool. Awesome. Oh, you need to put a little bit more line,
Oh, a little
some more
bit
line.
more.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. I can't wait to go. I shall have to ask my coworker Theo if he would like to join with us.
Oh, yeah. Is that other person you were with earlier?
Yes.
What's his deal? He seems a little harrowed.
Well, they take on the issues and trials and tribulations of others upon themselves. He does it as a public service.
Cool. Gluten. More like glute yum.
I'll have to write that down.
And we will now cut over to, I don't know where we're cutting to. Jasper Finch. Jasper Finch, you wrote a verse. Do you want to do it now or do you want to wait?
Oh, I'll wait.
Okay.
I need to spiff it up a bit more.
You instead get a 7 to 9. You're keeping it all together. Let me take a look at your let me just take a look at your character in general. Think about what your complications might be here. I'm going to give you a condition. It's going to be the lantern. That is the condition.
Oh, okay, sure.
But you're otherwise fine. What do you do?
I just saw this lantern up ahead, and then so yeah,
And you
like
just, yeah, and basically I was just asking, I was basically just making you roll to like whether you're going to get ensorcelled by it or
yeah,
not. Basically,
I think
yeah.
I'm gonna. I mean, like I'm gonna still like go in that direction, even though I'm not ensorcelled by it. I do want to creep through the mist and the dark woods to go see that. Feel like almost under his breath, Jasper is self monologuing. It's just being like, the Finch stepped forward as he,
Yes.
and it's just, his heart's not really in it. It's just being like, this script is bullshit, as he's just walking closer towards the light.
You can since you've already rolled the revelation move, you can go ahead and make an information move, but with communion.
That's fun. Do I have disadvantage
But at
because of the
disadvantage
lantern?
because of the lantern, yeah.
Yeah, that checks out. Let's see here. I'll roll with disadvantage because you know what? Why not? We're getting fun. Oh wow, it's not bad. I think that's just a 10. No,
You have a
that
0
is
communion.
it's a 7.
Hmm. You're getting closer and closer to the lantern. A clue. You stop when your boot brushes up against something on the ground. An effigy made of twigs and broken glass. That's your clue. I will give you some text in the chat.
Thank you.
And when you look
And
back up,
yeah,
the
the
lantern's
effigy,
not there anymore.
twigs and broken glass. Oh well. Oh, hello. You're not the lantern, and I don't like it out here. I think we should make our headway back to the car or the road. Perhaps we should go somewhere else. I don't like it out here. And
You look
which
lost,
direction
friend.
did I come? He's like, this ungodly sound comes from his mouth as he like spins around.
Are you okay? It's Aiden Pataki.
Yes, I admit I am a bit lost.
I would
How?
like the veiled move. What do you think is going to
Yes,
happen if you lose your nerve?
God complex Jasper. That's already there, so I'm not sure that's afraid. I'm gonna say I might oh no, that's better. I think my off-putting state will cause this figure to just walk away and leave me alone, and I will lose my moment to interact with him.
Okay. Roll with focus.
I'll take it.
Because of empty, I'm going to put you at disadvantage.
Yeah. Oh god, I'm in the fucking ringer today, man. Yeah, we'll do it. Why not? I'll just roll disadvantage. We need more Jasper verses out there. You said plus focus? Limping across the
Yes.
finish line. That is a 7.
Nice. I have to tell you how you'll be vulnerable.
Makes sense.
He's going to ask you to go bury the actual trucker to help him.
I don't like dirt. I'm gonna mark the assignment verse. The verse of the abandoned altar.
Let's read that. The verse of the abandoned altar. That's the assignment verse, which I have not revealed yet. Let's reveal it. It says, and I'll paste the text in the character keeper. Each custodian must recall a time when they left something or someone behind and why it still haunts them. Everyone has to do that. Be thinking about it. We'll pick up this scene with Jasper and Aiden Pataki in a moment. Theo and Pele making connections in Welkin's vigil. Sedna Spindler, do tell us about this brand new saint of the Saint Electric.
So Sedna leans forward and presses her hands on this fence. I'm kind of imagining the fence to be partially concrete with rebar and partially chain link. You know, the kind that has the twisty pointy stuff at the top. I can't think of the word. Barbed wire. There we go. Has the barbed wire at the top. And I think when the shock happens, a portion of the fence collapses and the concrete and the rebar, or the rebar and the chain link kind of all crumbling down together on top of this afflicted as they're crawling through this small hole. We could see the chain link burning red like it's been heated over a hot iron, and we could see the skin, what skin it has of the afflicted, starting to sizzle. Their clothing ignites into flame, and there's a spark like a crash of lightning, and we're blinded for a moment. And when our eyes readjust, we see the afflicted, human shape still, but now frailer, smaller seeming. It's wrapped in chain link that's embedded in sores and burns and scabbed in its skin, almost like the circuit cage of the maiden herself. The creature, the saint, is impaled with rebar like a pincushion in all different areas. It opens its mouth and it screams, and the sound that comes out is a continuous buzzing like an alarm. It gives off bursts of energy in a thump thump, thump thump, like a heartbeat, and you can see the electricity moving through the fence. Thump thump, thump thump.
Incredible revelation move. What do you afraid is going to happen if you, I don't know, just in this situation right now?
I'm kind of afraid I'm just gonna lose it. I'm just gonna lose it, and I don't know, become a huge Saint Electric fanatic or toss myself down an elevator shaft or something.
You're just gonna, okay, that's good. I think it's worse than that. You will, yeah, I think you will actually like sacrifice yourself to this new living saint in penance for your past heresies. Do go ahead and roll with communion.
Yeah.
With, because if this is what gods do, I'm going to put you at disadvantage as well. It's all bad.
So I have a -1 for communion. Disadvantage. Is there anything? I can't really use my items, so I'm just gonna do it. Let's just. All right, that's a 5.
We see, Sedna, you are overcome. You have spent years questioning your faith, using your faith when it was useful to you, but otherwise discarding it. And the Saint Electric will no longer tolerate your religious vicissitude. And so she has shown you her power by using you as a conduit through which to create a new living saint, a new young maiden caged in fire. You are overcome, and you throw yourself at the feet of this sparking, crackling, white-hot divinity. And we see you glow white as you're filled with its power, consumed from the inside. We're going to take a 10-minute break. When we get back, I would like for everyone to be ready to do the verse, the one that everybody has to do from the Bowered Companion, whatever it's called. What is it? The Abandoned Altar.
The Abandoned Altar, yeah.
Which feels thematically appropriate.
That's
and
the
then,
where we abandoned a person, right?
Yeah, it's written on the little thing there.
Oh,
and Sedna, you also owe me another verse if you intend to survive this scene. So
and I do. Yeah.
be thinking about that. The Skyward Sprawl one's available as well. The Concrete Jungle. So just know that. Let's take a 10-minute. The verse of the abandoned altar. Each custodian must recall a time when they left something or someone behind and why it still haunts them. Who would like to go first?
I can go. You are standing in the small living room of the little log cabin of the man who has taken you in. He's old. You don't know how old, maybe 70. His name is Asher Oldscythe. Oldscythe is arguing with you. He is arguing about your plan to leave. You want to go and see the world and see what's out there. And he's saying that, no, it's safer to stay where you are. This place, this particular place we are in, is the safest place because gods do not feed here. And you're 18. You know better than him. You know better than anyone what's out there. You want to find out more about what's out there. You argue and argue, and finally you slam the door on your way out, storming out into the night. It's cold and you're not prepared, so you stomp around until you cool off and suck it up. Go back inside where Asher Oldscythe is on the ground, on the floor, his hand clutched to his heart, gasping, his eyes bulging. And you kneel down next to him. With that spark, that current you feel at all times, you can, when you place your hands on his chest, on his body, you can feel the mismatched thump of his heart. You can feel it, the electricity in it, out of sync. And so you do what you know how to do, the only way you know how to help. And you channel that surge of energy within you, that piece of buzzing, that warmth that never leaves, and pass it into Oldscythe. And you can feel it, you can hear it. His heart beginning to come back into a rhythm. The thump, the thump. He gasps and his eyes blink. He looks up at you in recognition, in relief. You can tell he's not in pain, but there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong, that power, that buildup, that surge that usually would just discharge out once you send the power out. It usually is gone, but you can still feel it inside of you. It is building up. It is burning through your veins and out through your fingertips. And suddenly, an arc of energy is ripped out of your body. You don't know really what happens next. You don't remember. The only thing you remember is standing outside the log cabin watching it burn to the ground and knowing that if everything in the world was just, if gods were just, then either Oldscythe would be alive or you'd be in there burning with him.
There's a reason why Theo does not get high very often or at all. Because the sensations, well, they mimic other diseases, disorders, and whatnot, and some are just so very hard to tell the difference between a pleasurable experience and a horrendous one, because honestly, at the end of the day, there really isn't that much of a difference. But because of the difference between a memory and a vision, well, there's really not much difference. He remembers because this priest keeps talking about vigils, and Theo has seen many, many vigils, but they're vigils for other people. Those are all right. You can help others. You can release your own burdens, but never the vigils for us. Never the vigils for us, because a vigil for a pox mater is a vigil of death. Is a vigil of the killing. You will not speak the name. You do not speak the names of old pox martyrs, because that invites more vigils. Vigils for yourself. So he's going through this memory of a vigil that he attended years ago, but instead of the perspective of himself, the hands on his body lifting him up, taking him outside, taking him to the river. They bathe you, because that is a comfort to have your sores attended to. They clothe you in fine clothes, because you are meant to have some luxury. They hold you, they cradle you, they comfort you and tell you all the nice things, all the nice memories that they have with you. But you don't belong here any longer. You must give everything up. Pass it on to you. Pass it on to the dirt, the ground, so that it doesn't pass on to others anymore. They take you to that tree. They help you stand up to give you some sort of agency in this when you take your own life.
Pele is flying a kite, looking up at it, and you'd see other kites flying in the air. And then slowly there's a fading transition between those kites and other birds that are catching the wind and circling above this farm that is currently on fire. And you see Pele with other employees of Sweet Jolly Crunch Tooth walking in their pale pink, uh, their pink drab canvas military uniforms with their rifles, moving through and poking through these different hay bales and moving through different animal stalls and checking for contraband. And one of the fellow employees catches sign of something that looks strange off in the distance, calls Pele to go with him. Pele follows. And then Pele catches sight of it. A young boy is running away from this other employee, darting through trees and then ducking into a orchard off to the side. Pele tells the other employee to slow down, think about what you're doing. We need to process this. We need to report it. Slow down. But the other employee is just too excited, has found something to bring back something to report. And Pele sees ahead the child duck into a trap door that's been built into one of these orchard rows and slams a wooden door shut that's covered by leaves and different detritus that you find in nature. And then he yells out for the other employee to stop running, to slow down. And the other employee eagerly grabs the trap door. And the next thing Pele sees and hears is an explosion that sounds muffled by dirt and root and nature. And a plume of dust and dirt and smoke shoots out from this trap door. Pele slowly makes their way over to the trap door. It's been blown to bits and clears out some of this dust in the air. Looks down and can see at the bottom of the stairwells there was a homemade rudimentary explosive device, and this employee is sitting there crying out for help, legs ruined. And Pele stops and looks and can slowly see some other forms, figures of people moving and grabbing this employee, and the employee saying, "No, stop, don't let go. Pele, Pele." And Pele just looks down, spits to the side, and turns and walks away. As you can hear the screams and cries of this other employee just getting pulled under through this tunnel. And then just cuts back, just a stark cut to the kites flying and Pele smiling.
We see a tape deck. And a hand presses play. The reel begins to spin as the audio crackles to life through the speaker. This is Investigating Officer Blythe Pravina with the Greater Glottage Police Authority, reviewing the statement of Jasper Ardentius Finch. Subject is male, age 36. Investigating officers responded to a tenement fire of which Mr. Finch is the only known survivor. Statement read: I didn't want to be the last one in that building. You have to understand. It was not I who started the fire. Why don't you people listen to me? I apologize. I apologize. It's not. I've had a rather terrible day. The obvious aside. Yes. I understand. I will cooperate. Yes. It was simply a dinner with a friend of mine, Mr. Masood Bonnet. He owns a small theater that I frequented a few years back before, well, hardships, times being what they are. It was a rather subdued, hostile affair. We did not exactly end on the best terms, but no, it was not that incident that began the whole of fire. Just don't give me that look. Let me finish, please. I was. The fire started, from what I understand, next door. I simply was. I was in the bathroom at the time when the shouting began, and well, I did not know this at the time, but given how much parchment was inside his neighbor's apartment, it is no wonder the place went up quickly. It was basically kindling. Well, Masood was already out of there, yelling, screaming, and I was in the midst of evacuating, and it was then that I remembered that what my host had mentioned before things went all well terrible. An old friend of mine, Mr. Josiah Singh, you did search for him, didn't you? Please, you insist that you did? He was living there as well, 3 floors above where our dinner was. Masood had mentioned that they had exchanged mail every so often, had swapped apartments. You know how it is with the mail and it being delivered to the wrong address sometimes, and you wish to make corrections. And it's just... I ran upstairs to find an old friend of mine and found an inferno that was already spreading with more ferocity than I think any mortal flame could accomplish. There was something else at play, but who am I to question these things? I just simply ran into the fires and was yelling. I don't remember much. My throat was scalded from the smoke I inhaled. And I thought I heard screaming. I thought I heard cries for help, but at that point I simply needed to leave. I am not a coward, but I am also not a fool. I don't run headfirst into danger. That is the purview of main characters, and I am not one. Usias is a good man. He was a fantastic man, probably one of the greatest writers I've ever had the pleasure of working with and elevating his text of, and also just a damn fine person. You know, he sent me letters over the years that we had grown apart. Many letters. I meant to respond to them. I did, but never mind. All this to say, a part of me cannot help but wonder. Would things have turned out this way if I hadn't gone away and stayed in touch with Mr. Singh? Would he still be alive if I hadn't gone to that dinner? What ifs? What ifs? Please, I could use a glass of water. Statement ends. Tape runs out.
Fantastic. I think we'll end there today. Let's I'm gonna make a note for my future self, though, who's going to be watching this to get caught up for the next session. We are ending with Jasper about to have a conversation with Aiden Pataki, with Theo and Pele having accepted invites to the candlelit vigil at Wilkins Vigil, and with Sedna confronting a new living saint of the Saint Electric. Let's go to end of session. We'll start with end of session questions. Jasper, did you engage with a god, angel, or other divine manifestation? Yes, you did.
Mm-hmm.
Did you struggle with your personal faith?
I hinted towards that a couple of times, mostly just with
yeah. No, I there was a couple of little moments where you were like, "God damn it, Watcher in the Wings." Yeah, those were good. Did you undermine the orders of your superiors or use the assignment to pursue personal interests?
It was loosely alluded to with how I was mostly just picking around out of my own interest, but as opposed to the assignment itself. But I mean, it may not have counted.
I don't know if it quite, because you were still like on assignment, I think.
Yeah.
Pele, did you engage with a god, angel, or other divine manifestation? No, I don't think so. Did you go out of your way to connect with the local community? Yes, you did.
Yes, I did.
Were you vulnerable with someone? I would say with Shay.
Shay, yeah.
Let's go to Sedna Spendler. Did you struggle or did you engage with a god? Yes, you did. Did you struggle with your personal faith? Yes, you did. Did you undermine the orders of your superiors or use the assignment to pursue personal interests?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, because what you were doing was ultimately to resolve the assignment. So yeah. Theo, did you engage with a god, angel, or other divine manifestation?
Surprisingly, not this session.
No. Did you struggle with your personal faith?
I would say so.
Definitely.
Just getting high and going through bad memories.
I would say in flashback for sure. Mm-hmm. Did you go out of your way to connect with the local community? Yeah, I would say so. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Fantastic. That is end of session questions done. Do we have any moves that fire off at the end of the session? Also making a note here that I believe Sedna and Jasper both owe verses. In addition, Sedna, assuming you're going to pick one and not be consumed by fire, you will owe verse. Yeah. So we'll resolve that at the next time as well. And so with all of that said, let's just go to stars and wishes. Stars are things we enjoyed about the session. Wishes are things that we hope to see in the story next time. I'll kick off with the star and say that all of the verses of the Abandoned Altar were excellent, very enjoyable, and really a lot of insight. It's really surprising how much of the storytelling in this game happens in flashback. which is really, really cool. So love that. And those were all really, really excellent. But I might have other stars, but that's my initial thought.
I got some stars. Stars for Alex. Jasper Finch is back. Uh, really, I loved. Obviously, I love anything Jasper does, but I really liked the murder of Pickles II. I thought that was just
It was so
kind of
petty.
awful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very Jasper thing to do. Like it really tells you a lot about Jasper in the moment. I also really liked when the verse where you were narrating the death of your friend because we saw a different side of Jasper and a different way that his powers manifest. Um, that's a little less controlled and a little less like he's the main character, less like that, like you said in your second verse. So I love seeing all these different verses and seeing this other part of Jasper and how. I just want to know why. Why is Jasper Finch? Why is this? So I feel like every time we hear a verse, we get a little bit closer, and it's a lot of fun. Uh, Theo, chaotic with Theo, uh, healing that guy and how gross that was. That was disgusting, and it was awesome. The squeezing the oh no, I was just like, nah, turn off my headset. I don't want to hear it. It was so gross. I loved it. I loved how Theo is as a high person with the psychotropic stuff that he's on, and being really excited for the vigil. Like, yeah, let's go to the vigil. Because it's such a weird spin on Theo that makes perfect sense, but it's a lot of fun to watch. I also really enjoy, this is something that you always kind of put into Theo's verses, is this undertone of resentment towards having to do this, but not wanting to stop either. And I think that that's really coming out, especially in the last couple of verses. So I'm excited to see where that goes. Uh, Wes with Pele, the big brothering to Theo is so much fun to watch. I really liked the part where I can't remember who it was that said to you, "Oh, they're growing big where you're from," and you said, "Not anymore." that, was, that was just a great line.
That's
It
one of my
was
stars too.
like,
Yeah.
ooh, ouch. Just one of those things like when somebody says, "Oh wow, are you due soon?" and you're like, "I'm not pregnant, I'm just fat." Like it feels like one of those things. Um yeah. Jason, the managing of the tone of the game. I mean, you're always great at managing the tone, but it's really really showing off your management skills because you can manage the tone between these three different settings that we're in. We're in three different movies right now, and you're balancing that very easily while tying everything in together. So I think that's very impressive. I have written down two lines: Onion Lord Fun Rings and More Like Glue Yum, because they were both great. Yeah, that was wonderful. For stars, I want to see how these assignments get resolved because they're so strange and they're so dangerous. I want to see how we manage to do this. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, pardon me, I'm sick, so I will be keeping these on the shorter side because I feel myself fading. Stars, I agree. I know I loved Pele's responses. I did not realize how much I've missed how creepy Pele is in my life. I love how terrifying he is. I've missed his greasy little smile and his terse responses. That was great. Sedna's little like what was it, birthing a saint moment, you know, what it was like, it being like that was good. Oh, so creepy. I felt the I got wigged out by that. I loved it. Hey, chaotic, your second verse right there at the end there was the narration on that was fantastic. It actually felt like it was straight out of the Silt verses. That was like honestly, like honest to God, felt like it was right pulled from an episode. It was fantastic. Um, doubling on what Amanda just said about like we're all in different movies. Yeah, Jasper is in a
Gothic horror.
A24
Yeah.
gothic horror investigative movie. I will kind of laugh if I end up being the sole person responsible for the Boward companion and resolving it, because like no one else has, and I think that's funny that Jasper just stumbles into it. That segues into my wishes of I do look forward to maybe getting some more interaction with the town of Ulm or maybe some side characters, because I have basically enough clues to start really like making headway? Because I believe since I missed the roll, I didn't use up my other 2 clues. So
No,
like,
we've decided that the way it works is the opposite answer is true and you burn the
oh,
clues.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay, well, I'm glad that that ruling has been made because honestly, it works better. It's less broken. Well, good because now I want to explore more of the Bowered Companion and get more clues before I start, grappling with resolving it. But
yeah, and
I'm
the, and
having a
the
great time.
TSV rule set actually has the clarification in it. It's the first game
Good.
that actually includes that note.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Mhm.
Okay, cool. Yeah, but I'm excited to see how all these like shape up and then how we're gonna get into the confrontation. I'm also just excited to maybe get a few more Jasper things out there before the confrontation. Just mostly just to give at least some additional Jasper lore to maybe answer some people's questions of why is he here before we go into the closure of this arc. At the very least, maybe like since there's the possibility of us doing more arcs because there's more conspiracies out there. There's the idea of maybe giving like some sense of what his deal is. So I'm looking for a few openings on that.
Yeah, I gotta give it a star for Sedna of just, oh no, this is just a bad time. My god is really bad at me. And it's just like just a struggle. Jasper as well, like this didn't get mentioned, but just being surprised by his own creation, quote unquote, and then they're like marking a verse of just like, oh, I'm not going to get myself dirty. It's just so silly. And then Pele having a good time flying kites. Just having a great old time while Theo is just in the background of just like I am struggling while tripping real bad, and now I get to go to a vigil where Theo in his own mind is like, oh no, I'm going to die. So like this is just
Going to a second location with a hippie. This is
yeah. Uh, I'm also very pleased about the Onion Lord. Like just a lot of like quips from Jason this session of just like puns. I didn't expect that.
I have another star for I thought this was a really great session, and there was such a like there was I think what I really loved about this session was everybody was like ready to like kind of really sink into their characters and and tell us about their characters and talk about their characters and role play the way their characters would be. And I love that. I love when you when you have a group that is like really being like super character focused, and yet all of that said, everyone was still doing the investigations and doing the assignment. So I felt like we really hit like a really nice balance between like doing the thing you're supposed to be doing while also telling us about the custodians. And as the keeper, I really appreciated that. It was really fun to watch. And I think my wish is I am ready for them all to be back together a little bit. They have been all separated a fair amount, and I don't know how that's going to go. You all need to do some journey phase so that you can clear some of these conditions for one thing, but also, so I'm not sure how that's going to go, except that like, I mean, maybe like, maybe Jasper chickens out in the forest and tries to get back with the rest of the group. Maybe Sedna realizes that, being a maintenance electrician in the middle of a war zone by herself is not the best idea. Or it could be that Pele and Theo wrap up Welkin's Vigil, next time. And so I think getting the characters back together is going to be really good. But I do enjoy seeing them all kind of split up because I think we get these really like deep character moments, which is a lot of fun. And yeah, and I'm really excited to keep pushing toward the confrontation with the Institute. I'm excited to run the confrontation because the way this game works, I don't write that final confrontation mystery or that final assignment. It's written for me, and so I'm really curious to see how that goes in play because I have not role played that part. I've not done that part yet, and so just really looking forward to that. And yeah, this is great fun. Everybody's I just echo a lot of stuff what everybody else said today. Yeah.
Yeah, Star too, Jason. It's very cool to kind of experience a Paul Schrader film with my own character of big scary person does very calming hobby to learn the inner kindness of themselves. But also like I don't know, like it's you have such a knack and a talent to go from something as tranquil as flying a kite to something as just disturbing and upsetting as what is happening to Sedna, or as tense as what's happening with Jasper and Theo. Um, big ups to Theo for that verse. It was great. Fantastic little insight. I'm so glad we are so back. We're so back. We're Johann Sebastian back. We are Burt Bacharach. It is we're just call us Bane because we broke the bat's back. Like Jasper
So,
Finch in all of his glory on display. And we get even more of it next session with this interaction between Hayden Pataki, creator with creation. What is, the culmination of it's amazing stuff. I can't wait for that. And then Amanda Sedna's just such a darn tootin' rootin' tootin' soldier when it comes to dealing with stuff. Just like just describe the most upsetting thing you can think of happening to her, and she's like, well, I gotta get this done, and it's the god's fault, so I can't deal with it. Then what can I do? It's the god's fault. So I'm just gonna do it and keep on with it, and you play it so wonderfully. It's great stuff. I'm excited we're back. Screw the holidays. Holidays can go flip themselves, and I am glad that we're back. But yeah, that's me.
any other stars or wishes? Okay, well, then we will wrap it up there. Alex, go get better. And everyone else, enjoy the rest of your Sunday. And we will be back next week for part 11. Let's wave goodbye.